we'll put it on our new YouTube channel. So anybody that's not able to watch tonight's forum, they can find it online later. So good evening, everybody. My name is Jason Friedman. I'm the current president of the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council, and it's an honor and a privilege to get to moderate tonight's Meet the Candidate Forum. How tonight's going to go is we'll go through each of the different candidates. All of the candidates right now have been promoted to panelists, so you can see their faces and be able to put a face to a name. We're going to go through each of the different candidates, and they'll have 1 minute and 30 seconds to introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about who you are, and maybe your relationship to the community. And then after all of the candidates have the opportunity to introduce themselves, we'll go through again, and I will ask certain questions of each of the different candidates. Now, these questions are not meant to be I gotcha questions or very difficult. We just want to find out a little bit more about you and what you're looking to hopefully accomplish by becoming a Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council board member. And tonight we're fortunate enough we have a timekeeper, Mr. Jim Fitzpatrick, who is part of the Elections and Outreach Committee. It looks like he's stepped away for a moment. Hopefully he joins us.
There he is.
He's going to be timing everybody. So for both the introduction and the question and answer part, it's 1 minute and 30 seconds each. And so please try to stick with that 1 minute and 30 seconds. At maybe 10 seconds left or so, or Jim can mention that there's 10 seconds left or final thought, and then at the minute 30 he'll mention minute 30, and we're going to try to cut it off. And so we make sure we give everybody equal amount of time with this. Jim, does that work for you?
Yeah, I freeze a lot, but my audio is always good. So
okay, that sounds good. But the biggest reminder for everybody tonight, panelists and attendees, if you haven't requested your ballot, it is crucial that you request it. There is going to be no in-person voting this year. This is the first year that we are not doing any in-person voting. This is due to COVID. So we need you, it's a two-step process. You have to go on and request the ballot and then fill it out and either mail it in, or there'll be a ballot drop-off for this. And I think I see Ren has also joined us. Let me, oh, there we go. And we have one more candidate, Ren Blight, that just joined us, and I'll change his name as soon as he gets on. So great, that makes 14 of our candidates that are here tonight. This is fantastic. It's a two-step process. If you have not requested your ballot yet, you can go to votetolucalake.org. Again, that's votetolucalake.org, and you can request your ballot that way. And if you haven't, if you have any neighbors or other stakeholders that you know that have not requested their ballots, please encourage them to get their ballots. The final cutoff date for requesting it is, I think it's May 4th. So we just have a couple days to go. So even if you're undecided about who you want to vote for, and you're still kind of weighing your options, at least request the ballot. At least request the ballot. So, just one other reminder: if you have, if you could, oh, I think we have one more. One more that's come up. Let me see when. I saw a. Just 1 second. So yeah, please request a ballot. Also, you can go to GTLNC.org to find out more information about what the neighborhood council does. That's GTLNC.org, which there's also a link on there to the Vote Toluca Lake website. So with that, we will get started. And I just have jotted down a list of everybody that signed in, and we're just going to go from top to bottom with this, and then we'll do a different order for the questions. So,
and don't forget to change Ren's name. It says Joanne Wren instead of Ren.
Very modern.
You took on your wife's name.
And thank you, Robin. And I just changed it. So if everybody can mute themselves until you're called on, that will help prevent any background noises or interruptions. So again, if you can mute yourself until you're called on, we'll give you a minute, a couple seconds to unmute. Your time will start once you are unmuted, and you'll have a minute and 30 seconds. Don't feel the need to fill up all minute and 30 seconds, but if you want to, it is yours. So we're gonna start with Robin Allen. If you could introduce yourself, Robin.
I get to be first. Hello, I'm Robin Allen. And in 1994, my husband and I were involved in the earthquake, and he was out of town. And I realized that I didn't know any of my neighbors and I was alone. And that was my first step into getting involved in the community. I got to know my neighbors. I became a watch captain for my street. And I started getting more involved in the community. I found out about a garden club that was in the community, and I was asked to join that. And that garden club has been around since 1947, so over 70 years. The Toluca Lake has had a garden club. I've been a member of that since 2009. And we do community outreach and cleanups. And through the garden club, I found out about the neighborhood council. And I started attending meetings just to see what the neighborhood council was about and to see how I could help. And then I was asked to join the board. So I was placed on the board for a year, and then I ran last time. And I've been on the neighborhood council now for 3 years. I'm the current secretary, and I'm also the co-chair of public safety. And I'm also on the executive board as secretary for the Toluca Lake Beautification Partners. So just by getting engaged, I became involved. Is that it, Jim? Am I done? I can't hear you. Am I done?
I don't know if I got muted by Jason, but I don't show myself as muted.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say last thing is that I've lived in Toluca Lake for 30 years. And I love it here, and I want to be the voice of the community, and that's why I'm on the neighborhood council, and that's why I'm running.
Can you hear me, Jason?
No.
I don't understand.
We sure can. Yes, we can hear you, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Great. Thank you, Robin. We'll go to Colby Jensen.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, I moved to Toluca Lake in 2000, 21 years ago. My family and I did, and it reminded me so much of my hometown back in Connecticut. It's a beautiful little oasis, little village in this great metropolis of ours. And I joined, I got involved with the council. A lot of reasons people do is because I was concerned about overdevelopment and crime. And since then, I've become vice president of I'm the current vice president of the GTLNC. Also a board member of our planning and land use committee, which is very exciting, and that's really what I get my hands on. I'm the watch captain for my street, Toluca Estates Drive, and I'm also on the Toluca Lake Beautification Partners, that committee, which is a wonderful committee. It's my newest duty. Anyway, I'm here for the same reason the rest of you are here, because I have great concerns about the community. I want to preserve it and grow it in a responsible way. And it's a great privilege to be here, and I hope to continue serving. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Colby. Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura Cantor, and I've lived in this area for over 10 years, and I work in news radio. I was talking about that earlier. I worked at KPFK for almost 3 years, which is just on Cahuenga Boulevard, which is I believe it's in Toluca Lake as well, or it's more North Hollywood, Los Angeles, I guess, but it's right near here. And, through my recording, I've learned about the value of transparency in politics, and I want to have a say about, what goes on in local politics. I've become fascinated with local politics, just everything that goes on. I had no idea how how controversial and complicated it can be. And it's just like, basically how it is nationally. It's really interesting. And I've interviewed various local politicians, members, ACLU attorneys, just on and on and on. And I've learned a lot and from different activists and people like that. So I just want to make our community better. Where I live, I mean, the homeless population, it's out of control. I can't even walk around my area anymore. I'm sure you've all experienced this. And
10 seconds.
sorry, I'm over it. I want to do my part and help beautifying this community and making it how it was before.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lee Jameson, I see you're there. You can unmute yourself. If you're there, Lee. If not, Lee, you there? If not, Lee, raise your hand later and we'll try to come back to you. But we'll go to Tess Taylor.
Great. Thank you very much, Jason. My name is Tess Taylor. I'm the president of the West Toluca Lake Residents Association, and I'm here because I seek to make local government more accessible, responsible, and responsive and accountable to residents. Apart from that, I have priorities including preserving residential neighborhoods and quality of life, ensuring good government and transparency. I'm here because I want to see city services improved and be more responsive to us. I have been involved with the Public Safety Committee through the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council for 3 or 4 years now. I've lived in this area for over 30 years. I see so many failures of the city. One example of this is that the Public Safety Committee, with some of the intelligent people here today, have tried collectively for over 5 years to get one conspicuous public safety threat addressed in our neighborhood. We continue to try, and the city has been almost completely non-responsive. I think this is fraud committed in the name of government, non-responsive, non-caring, staff disinterested. These are things that are so conspicuously wrong that I want to work to correct. I want to defend the rights of taxpayers. I insist that development be code compliant and avoid adverse impacts. And just to close, receive our fair share of city services for clean, safe, and a peaceful residential community. Thank you.
Thank you, Tess. Fred, welcome, Fred.
Okay, yes, hello, happy to be here. And I see Jason's face on my screen, so I'll just pretend I'm talking to you. This is a great, good-looking group of people, smart, fun. You guys look like a really nice group. So a little bit about me, and then I'll tell you why I'm here. I think I probably have everyone beat on how long they've lived in Toluca Lake. I've been here since 1974. So I remember the 70s, the 80s, 90s. My great-grandmother actually settled in Toluca Lake in the 1940s on Tolofa, and she bought and sold about 7 or 8 houses all around the neighborhood. She was maybe considered the house flipper of her time. And that attracted my parents here and me too. So I was born here, went to St. Charles, then to Notre Dame, and then UC Santa Barbara. After college, I bought a house in Toluca Lake in 1996, which is the house I'm at now in my backyard. And I love it here, and I'm gonna be here a long time. And I've actually already served one session, one role, one term on the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council when it first got established in the, I guess, early 2000s, I think it was. But this is my second round of it, and I kind of got involved about a year ago.
Second.
Okay, well, gosh, I've got so much more to say. So 10 seconds. It's good to be here. Maybe I can do some more in the question and answer, but thanks very much.
Great, thanks, Fred. If anybody wants, you can choose up in the view side, you can choose speaker view if you just want to have just the speaker be highlighted as they're talking. Or you can choose gallery, which has little pictures of everybody. But if you want to have the person speaking, go up to the view and then choose the speaker view. Next, we'll go to Tim Davis.
Thank you, Jason. My name is Tim Davis. Pleasure to be with you all, and what an impressive group of candidates. I'm honored to be counted amongst you guys. I've been serving as the, I guess, pro tem board member for the last few months and been getting acquainted with the group. I'm 46 years old. I have 3 children, all under the age of 11. I'm married to my wife, Jennifer, and we live here in Toluca Lake for the last 7 years. We've been here and just loving it. I also run a business locally here. Actually, it's in the Magnolia Park neighborhood of Burbank. I headquarter a national company right here in Burbank. And I also grew up right in the neighborhood, right on Woodland Avenue over here. So I have spent my whole life in this neighborhood. As far as why I'm getting involved, obviously I'm at a very busy time of my life with young kids, but the issue of homelessness and just certainly in certain areas it's reaching a crisis level. The issues associated with that, just the inhumanity of it, the safety, the sanitation, and just when I look at my professional life, I'm a very effective leader. I'm good at bringing people together and finding great solutions. And I'm eager to apply those same skill sets to this board and see if I can contribute to making this community continue to be a great place to live. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you, Tim. Next, we'll go to Arthur Whipschlag.
Hi, everybody. My name is Arthur. I moved into West Toluca Lake in August 2012, and I've been a homeowner since. So I've been here for 9 years, and I've been involved in the board for the past 5. And that kind of came about when an outgoing board member was recruiting candidates for an upcoming election 5 years ago, and he asked me to run and join. And this has been a very rewarding experience. Professionally, I'm a CPA, and so I've been, when I first got on, I was asked to serve as treasurer, and I've been serving as treasurer since. And the neighborhood council has kind of been my, I guess my way to experience all the other community groups in the area through all the other community outreach as well as community events that the neighborhood council puts together. So I love this neighborhood. That's why I live here. There's great people that live here. I think there's a lot of potential for Toluca Lake, and I look to work to beautify, work with other community organizations to make this a better place to live for all of us.
Great, thank you, Arthur. Sean.
Hello, my name is Sean. Thank you, Jason. I've lived in Toluca Lake. Our family's lived in Toluca Lake since 1971, just before the earthquake. So we've been in and about this area my whole life. Much like all the other candidates, I love this area, but I've also seen what has been going on recently with people experiencing homelessness. The biggest reason I got into this is because we've had some issues on the property, as I am a homeowner. And having talked to the senior lead officer, he actually suggested that I try out for this candidacy. And having seen all the board members and following the meetings, it's been amazing to see how everyone's worked. And I'd like to be a part of that change and be a part of helping the community in the best way possible. And I think this avenue is the best way that I can help. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Sean. Susanna.
All right. Hi, good evening. I'm Susanna Hayes. Been a resident here for about 20 years and have family who's been residing here from the 70s. So come visiting before I moved here. and my kids have been growing up here. I want to contribute and support our community and continue to do so. I've been a member of the Homeowners Association for 6 to 8 years. And I'm also a current member of the Toluca Lake Beautification Partners, and also a member of the Toluca Lake Garden Club. I love our community and I want it to be vibrant, and part of that was even the years when we started doing activities like the Toluca Lake Turkey Trot. My concern here is homelessness, and also how we get them off the street again. And also in terms of mental health. I know maybe this is not a job for the right away for the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council, but I think we need to work with the city and the state for all that matter, to get a system back for people to be cared for in a mental health setting and not living on the street. That would solve a lot of problems we have.
10 seconds.
Okay, and what else was I going to say? Yes, and I love gardening and I want to keep beautifying our neighborhood so it's a safe place for us all.
Great, thank you, Suzanne. Kevin Dees, welcome.
Thank you, Jason. Hi, everybody. My name is Kevin Dees. I'm a second generation Toluca Lake resident. My family's been here since 1990. I'm married. I have a little girl that we're raising here in Toluca Lake. We've lived here since 2018 now. But like I said, I did grow up in the neighborhood. I too have been on the council in a temporary position like Tim here for the last couple of months, getting the hang of things. And it's just an honor to to be amongst all of you and to be in a position to serve. I love this neighborhood. I love Toluca Lake. I think that when you have a child, you look at things through a different lens, and I want to have a community that's safe and not have to worry about my little girl, riding her bike around the neighborhood. And of course, many of you mentioned, the homeless issue and all these other factors that affect all of us. And I want to do whatever we can as a member of chosen to help, and want to see the businesses thrive on Riverside. And anyway, just given the opportunity, would love to be a part of this. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Kevin. Next we have Mike D, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. I had all sorts of stuff. I'm like, I don't have enough material, but then all of a sudden, like 2 minutes is gone in a jiffy. So I'll make it brief and quick. Born and raised in Burbank. My parents immigrated in the 1950s. Started with Ramsey Shelling Commercial Real Estate in the mid-90s. Did a lot of sales, leasing, civic activities and things in Toluca Lake. Got to know a lot of people through the years, pillars of the community. Really love to grow, how this community is. Bought my first place here in 2003. Bought my second place in 2007, where I'm still at. Have been involved. I did the chair of the Toluca Lake Charity Car Show that we shut down Riverside Drive a couple of times. Passed City of Burbank Redevelopment Committee for the Chamber, as well as South San Fernando Road Redevelopment Committees. So I've done a little bit of stuff in that spectrum. There's been a lot of stuff with homeless development, et cetera, in the community. And it's kind of my background and things that I've done in the past. Have immediate family that suffers from mental illness. And I'm very familiar and can make your head spin with some of the stories I've been through. So hope I can contribute.
Great, awesome, thank you, Mike. Catherine.
Hi, my name is Catherine. Apologies, my computer can't handle video. I've lived here in Toluca Lake for about a decade now. It was the only place when I moved to LA that actually felt like a neighborhood, like a home. And that's one of the reasons that I love it and why I want to be involved in the community and in the NC. And actually, I first got involved with GTLNC because I was concerned about a dangerous intersection. And now, like 7-8 years later, I've been on the council for 3 years. I co-chair the environmental committee and serve as assistant secretary. In my everyday life, I'm a director of operations. So it's probably why I tend to end up being sort of the parliamentarian, the one that's read all the bylaws and just tries to get the required bureaucratic stuff done when it's overcomplicated and no one else wants to deal with it. But you know, I'm a renter and I can't do a whole lot with my home. I don't have a lot of say, but I love being able to serve the community and better the neighborhood through my work on the neighborhood council. So that is why I would love to continue doing that.
Great. Thank you, Catherine. Ren.
Thank you. My name is Reynold Blight. I've been involved with the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council from its very beginning, the formation of it and the whole process of creating the neighborhood council. I started out as the vice president, and after 8 months, the president resigned, and I took over as the president of the council. I was reelected and served 2 more full years as president. Then passed it on to Terry Davis, who some of you may remember. And it's been a lot of fun and very rewarding, and also can be very frustrating and time consuming. So I've been there. I've been active ever since. Sometimes I was an elected member. I went off the board a couple of times for a year or two. I continued to serve as chair of the planning committee and in other ways to the board. So I've been around through the whole thing. I've been very involved primarily with the planning committee and served as that chair. I've been very active as chair of the and a member of the governmental affairs committee as well. I'm currently the representative for GTLNC on the mayor's homelessness committee. And I've been attending the meetings downtown when that was going on in person. And since the COVID, I've been attending and involved through various online kinds of things. There's been a lot of changes out of the mayor's office in terms of homeless strategy. We've gone from a lot of conversation and to at this point now we have a mayor's budget, which finally is operating, I think, at the scale that's needed to deal with all the issues having to do with homelessness. Unfortunately now a judge has just stepped up to complicate all of that. So anyway, I'd like to stay involved and see that resolved. I've also been president of the Chamber of Commerce a number of years ago. I've been on the Homeowners Association board. And besides homelessness, my current issues are finishing the park that we've been working on at Cahuenga and Addison. That's a years-long project, and I don't want to die without seeing that park done. The other thing is building parking under the freeway, the 134 freeway on Foreman. I think that's a very valuable project that we put together through the Beautification Partners. And just an aside, I was there at the creation of the Beautification Partners as well and helped to get that started. And I'm currently on that board. So anyway, I'd like everyone to vote for me, please, and I can continue to serve.
Great. Thank you, Ren. And last, Nick.
Hi, guys. Ren, that's a tough act to follow, my friend. Yeah, I've lived in Toluca Lake for 10 years, and my biggest problem, I do apologize, I managed to do this while I'm visiting family down in San Diego. So, but this is important to me because I've lived in Toluca Lake for 10 years, and almost the entire time I've lived here, we've had Bruce, the guy who lives behind the Pizza Hut on Vineland and Moore Park. We do not have an answer for what to do with Bruce, and we need one. Bruce is long-term, I don't know if you call him schizophrenic, certainly call him drug addicted. And I'm just appalled by the situation that goes on I can't walk my daughter to the park if I have to go through an underpass. I'm appalled. And so I just think we need to look at long-term commitments for some of these people. We need to focus on getting areas where they can pitch their tents that's not a freeway. And start to coordinate how to get these people that don't want to live within society's rules in areas where they can not live in society's rules, but not in my backyard, frankly. And I know that's a rough way to say it, but I don't care. That's where I'm at with it. And I think we need to have compassion for these people, but we also need to have, some laws. And we need to have some limits set on what you can and can't do when you just want to walk around the street and do drugs all day. And where you can specifically do that. Because if you ask them, that's what a lot of them are. They just don't want to go anywhere. They don't want a job. They don't want to participate in society. I've gone down to the church on the Bromero church and helped with the showers down there before. And you talk to any of them about getting jobs, getting any kind of thing. They don't want to do that. They just want to do drugs. And that's fine. But I think we need to find a place for that. And it might be in a long-term rehabilitation center. I don't know. But I think we need the answers. And, I'm here to try to help find that. So thanks.
Great, thanks, Ned. So that concludes the introduction for a minute 30 of all of the different candidates.
Skip Lee.
Lee, are you able to unmute yourself? I see that he's on.
Jason, do you see him on? Because I saw that he had left, so I don't know if he's back. Is he back?
No, I don't. I don't see that he's back. Let me. I don't see he's back. If Lee, if you are there, please feel free to raise your hand and love to call on you. But if not, we will go move forward with our kind of question and answer session. So each candidate, there's about, I have about 3 or 4 different questions to choose that I'm going to be providing. Not everybody's going to get the same questions. These are not intended at all to be I gotcha questions, just to find out a little bit more about you. Some will be related to biggest concerns that you have in the community, or the things you like most, things that you like best about our community, or some ideas and thoughts about how to define a thriving neighborhood council. So we'll go through and I'll just kind of choose people at random, ask them a question, and then you have a minute and 30 seconds to answer that. A minute and 30 seconds to answer that. So I'm going to go to Colby and ask you, Colby, how would you define a thriving and successful neighborhood council? So Colby Jensen, how would you define a thriving and successful neighborhood council?
Oh, thanks, Jason. That's a great question. Communication, I define it, that would be the cornerstone. It works. That's how I got involved with it. I was not involved with the council a couple years ago, and I my neighbors encountered a problem, which the major theme here, it's crime, homelessness, and basically mental health issues with members of our community who are unhoused at this time. And I communicated with the GTLNC at the time. I communicated with the LAPD, and of course with my neighbors, and that got me involved. That got me to want to run, and that's why I'm involved with this right now. And the great thing that's happened is, in coordination with the LAPD, as Jason, of course, we're very close with Curtis Delbar, our senior lead officer, who's been absolutely golden for us. And Curtis has worked with me to come up with a solution, the best solution we could possibly have, which is mental evaluation unit, which is a way to deal with people who are facing these issues right now, and people who are living underneath the underpass and whatnot. And communication between myself and Curtis has led to a different way, another way to deal with this, instead of just locking people up and throwing away the key or having a revolving door. And that open communication has given everyone hope, at least in our area.
Great, thank you, Colby. Thank you. Next, let's go to Sean. And Sean, your question is, what is your biggest concern that you have for the neighborhood and how would you address it?
Well, I think much like everyone, it seems to be a theme for this, and that's the homelessness that we have. And it's getting the people the help that they need, getting the people off the street, and to continue to make this community a beautiful community. Solving that problem, I'm not sure, but I think cumulatively as a neighborhood council and working with the CD4, I think there's opportunities for us to come together and come with a plan to help everyone and help ourselves in the process to continue to make Toluca Lake the city that I love and live in. So I think that's where we're at.
Great. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Next, Kevin Dees. Kevin, your question is, what is your favorite aspect about the community and what would you do to enhance it, to make sure it's still around for us?
I think my favorite aspect of the community is the sense of community that you get living in Toluca Lake. I mean, my wife and I, for many, many years, lived in West Hollywood, and again, like I mentioned, I grew up here in the neighborhood for, I mean, over half my life, and you know, even really that sense of community, even through what we've all been through this last year with COVID and everything, just to see the community come together, it's been great. I'm the watch captain for my street, and it's I'd never done anything like that before. I'm also new to home ownership, and so people look after each other, and we look after one another here. And I think Toluca Lake is the greatest neighborhood in all of the San Fernando Valley, hands down. And it's a sense of community that you can't find anywhere else. And I just want to ensure that that stays like that for many, many years to come.
Great. Thank you, Kevin. Next, we'll go to Laura. And Laura, the question for you is, what is your biggest concern that you have for the neighborhood and how do you address it?
I actually have two. I mean, of course, my main concern, like everyone else, is the homeless issue. I cannot walk around my neighborhood anymore, which is ridiculous. And my neighbor, she got mugged a couple months ago in front of our apartment building in broad daylight. She was holding a child as well. And my eye doctor's office used to be on my street. They moved to Burbank because their patients were being accosted by homeless people. It's just, enough is enough. And also, I love Riverside Drive, the shopping area, you know, around Mariota, Foreman. I'm obsessed with it. I mean, I haven't gone there much because of COVID, but I will afterwards. And the crosswalks there are unbelievably dangerous. I have an ex-boyfriend who was actually hit in a crosswalk. He was hit by a car where Bob's Big Boy is, and he suffered a torn meniscus. And it's so dangerous. I've almost been hit, you know, walking the crosswalks several times, just going to the post office, or it's something's got to be done about that too. And just all around, just everything, the streets. I was here for another meeting where you actually, I'm so grateful. I wanted to mention this. I'm so grateful that you prevented this marijuana dispensary from joining, you know, Riverside Drive. Because North Hollywood has so many marijuana dispensaries. We don't need one in Toluca Lake. Sorry. So I just want to thank you for that. And that's the kind of work I want to do. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Tess Taylor. And Tess, your question is how do you define a thriving and successful neighborhood council? How do you define a successful neighborhood council?
Sorry. Okay. Define a a thriving neighborhood council, one that is transparent, where special interests are known, where we're communicating, where we are debating vigorously, where people share ideas. And even when we disagree, we wrangle them through, debate them, and come to a consensus so that the best ideas will win. I think it's very important to know how people vote and to make sure that we are well researched and diligent, that we are absolutely responsible fiduciaries, I am highly fiscally conservative. I want to see money spent in the best possible way. Quality of life is really, really important to me, and we can be stewards of that with the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council. I think we can do a much better job than is being done now. There are really good people working very, very hard. I recognize that some of the board members do outstanding work. I recognize that others do less outstanding work, and decisions are made very often without much due diligence, without much research. I'm highly researched and motivated to find out what works best. And I hope that people feel similarly. I'm happy to talk to people, talk things through. I know that we will disagree. And as long as we work through our disagreements, the democratic process is really, really important to me. That's the best functioning council.
Great. Thank you, Tess. Next, we have Tim Davis. Tim, and your question is what is your favorite aspect of the community, and what things would you do to help make sure it's still here for us in the future and enhance it? So
you bet. Thanks for the question, Jason. One of my favorite things about our community is what I do every Saturday and Sunday morning, which is load my kids up on a bike ride, or I load them into our little community golf cart or I have a little golf cart that we cruise through the neighborhood in, and just being able to go through our neighborhood, say hello to our neighbors, and just and enjoy the safety and and beauty of our neighborhood. And how do we preserve that and protect that? Well, it comes down to safety. We're all talking about homelessness and the unhoused, and as much compassion as we have, as Nick said so well, we can't have this in our neighborhood. It's not safe. It's not safe for our children. It's not safe for any of us. Yes, there needs to be a compassionate solution, but there needs to be a solution. So yeah, that's what I love most, is just being in our neighborhood and being able to enjoy it with my young kids.
great. Thank you, Tim. Let's go to Robin Allen, another board member. Would love to hear, Robin, how would you define a thriving and successful neighborhood council? How would you define a thriving and successful neighborhood council?
Well, first, I'd like to say that there's definitely a theme of safety and homelessness. And that is, the one thing we can 100% all agree on, that we all want that. We live in a neighborhood that has the potential for that. And the one thing I would like to see with this new board is not bench warmers, that there are actually people that are actually trying to run for neighborhood council that want to pitch in and get involved. And when I say pitch in and get involved, that doesn't mean I want to fight for every little thing to ad nauseum, to every motion, everything that comes across our agenda. We're all logical, nice, kind people. And I just want to see that we can discuss in a kind, compassionate way, because we all have the same vision. So I want to see people actually getting involved, like I think I do. I want to get involved with, when we open back up, I want to see people pitch in. And when we put on like an Earth Day event, everybody get involved, everybody take on something, everybody get involved in a committee, so that if you're engaged in the community, you definitely have the voice of the people you're speaking for.
And so
I'm done.
Thank you, Robin. Next, we'll go to Mike. Mike Dia, I would love to hear your favorite things about the community and what types of things you would do to help enhance them and make sure that they're around for many years to come.
My favorite thing, small town is really, it's we're in a major metropolis, one of the biggest cities in the world, but I know my neighbors and my kids play with their kids, and we hang out and we do things together, and and just like everybody has kind of said before, 5-10 years ago, I didn't really have a problem walking down the street with my kid going to a neighbor's house 2 blocks away. Today, it's not quite the same. And I have experience in this field with, like I said, with family, with these, it's not just homelessness, it's not just mental illness, it's not just drug addiction, it's combinations of all those things. And the system, there is no answer. And I've been through these, and you're told one thing by the legal system for basically disturbing the peace that turns into a revolving door or things like that. For me, that's probably the biggest thing that I'd like to address if I am elected. The other one is, development and advancement in the community, but maintain the historic charm of this place. And you can't say no to everything and you can't say yes to everything. There's a balance, and developers have to have something to want to come build here. If you don't have it, then the community becomes stagnant in that respect, and businesses don't want to move here and people don't want to shop here, and that's a cycle, and that's basic economics in that respect. So to me, those are the two main issues. I love the charm of this place, and like I said, it's nice to have that old school component. There's other places in Santa Monica, like Santa Monica or Larchmont, West Hollywood, more progressive. Awesome. They, no problem with that. Bless them. I go there at times, not a problem. But Toluca Lake, this is where I want to be. So
great. Thank you. Next, let's go to Nick Baker. I would love to hear, Nick, how would you define a thriving, successful neighborhood council? What do you think are needed for a successful neighborhood council?
Well, I mean, I think you have to work directly with the city services effectively. So we need, I take my kid to North Weddington Park all the time, and we've had a problem with the people going in the bathrooms over there, graffiti all over the place, things like that. So we got to work directly with the LAPD to have them go in there, make a presence there, and really, have presence with city services and work directly. Is how we do it. I mean, we get everything allocated. We find the process and procedures. I feel like everybody here is a good business person, and I feel like the biggest problem with government is their process and procedures are not well done. And so, what is our process and procedure for dealing with these kinds of things, and understanding what a clear path is for each one of these things? And as far as business goes, my biggest thing with the business areas is always going to be parking. It always is in LA. And I am a business person. I love thriving businesses. I want it. And I think Riverside can do better. And I think parking is a huge issue with it. And so I think, if we can do that, figure out the processes and procedures for our homeless issues, figure out how we can maybe foster a little bit more parking in our area to get a little bit more people in there, and really attract like a really five-star restaurant in there. I'd love to see that. That's how I think we do it, with specific ideas and direction.
Great. Thank you. Catherine Hatton, I would love to hear what you think is the biggest concern that Toluca Lake is facing right now. What is the biggest concern, and what types of things would you do to help to address it?
I have to agree with everyone else that the issue of homelessness in our neighborhood is really probably not only the biggest issue, but also the most difficult to fix. There are lots of things that we're able to get done as a neighborhood council, whether it is beautification projects or, events. But when it comes to larger city policies, not to mention the complications of mental health issues, lack of affordable housing in the city, and especially with COVID this last year, really putting a lot of people who might not have been homeless into the situation where they are unhoused now. I think that as a neighborhood council, the best thing that we can do is work with our senior lead officer, work with our city council member to ensure that they are pushing to get this solved at a city level, because they're the ones that actually have the power to make it happen. And we have to make this a priority and communicate consistently with our officials that this is what we need in our area.
Great. Thank you, Catherine. Next, we'll go to Fred. And Fred, I would love to hear your biggest concern that's you think facing the community, and what are the things that you would do to address it?
Okay, so the first thing that comes to my mind is actually overdevelopment of the neighborhood. Yes, homeless is off the top of the list. actually don't really see homeless in Toluca Lake except underneath the freeway on Lake Isham and Vineland. It's maybe more North Hollywood area. But in Toluca Lake, I definitely see the overdevelopment as a huge problem. And that's kind of what got me onto this in the first place with the Coinga Bloomfield project, which the developer just kind of, you know, showboated his project and it sailed on through without any opposition. I don't want that to happen again. And a lot of these old buildings are being torn down with huge buildings in their place, way too big. And it's happening way too much, not just in Toluca Lake, but all over the city. So I am concerned about that here. And I would be a voice in trying to have smarter development here. And certainly the homeless as well. But, you know, for our committee, I don't know how much power we can have besides advising that and having our voices heard. But those two issues, definitely the top of the list.
Great, thank you, Fred. Next, we'll go to Arthur, our current treasurer. Arthur, you've been on the neighborhood council a while. What do you define, or how would you define a thriving and successful neighborhood council?
Abel, can you just repeat the question?
Yeah, it's how would you define a thriving and successful neighborhood council? What do you think are the aspects needed to be successful?
Okay, so how to define a thriving and successful neighborhood council? You know, first, the neighborhood council is a liaison between the council district's office and our community. And so in order to be successful, the neighborhood council has to have good relationships with the communities in the neighborhood, as well as the neighbors in the neighborhood, and you know, and be a good funnel, so to speak, to funnel issues up to the councilwoman's office so that they know what to kind of focus their energies on. Of course, they have, you know, so many resources and can only do what they can with what they have, but it would be you know, strong communication skills with all community groups and working, you know, towards a common goal.
Great, thank you, Arthur. Next, Susanna. And I know you've been in the community a very long time. I would love to hear what your favorite aspects of the community are and what are you going to do to try to protect them? So,
Well, I do, as most people have said, the ones who's gotten this question is definitely the small town feel, especially when you think about that we live, as Mike Donald said, in a huge metropolis. So I do agree on that. What I do love about it too is that it's walkable, and I want to keep it that way, and also being safe. And the third thing is, which I find very, very important and has just been so wonderful for those many years I've been here, is that we look after each other. And it's definitely almost street by street, especially with the watch captains, even my neighbors, we always contact each other to make sure if telling I'm not here and stuff, and I want to keep it that way. Another thing is, I think it's important. We have Riverside Drive and we want to keep those businesses going. That's important. So we have to be business friendly. And I do agree, there will be development, but we have to manage that development, and both in construction, I mean, in built types of buildings and stuff. And I do agree. I think it was great what the neighborhood councils was able to do in terms of the dispensary. That just showed communication, action, and resolve.
Great, thank you. And then finally, we have Ren. Ren, you've been on the council for many years, and I would just love to hear, Ren, what do you think a successful neighborhood council needs? What are the qualities? What would make it successful?
I think it's a group of individuals who are committed to improve the community, but actually have specific things that they want to go after, that they want to front and take responsibility for, so that, a neighborhood council bluntly can have a huge impact over all the issues confronting us. We have to deal with kind of what's in front of us, what's most pressing, and deal with the things that we can deal with, and realize we can't make everything perfect quickly. The homeless issue, by the way, I finally have some hope. For the last 4 years, 5 years, I've been involved in the issue, getting more and more up to date on who's doing what and how much money they had. And I was impressed with how little the resources were given the scale of the problem. I think we're now at least talking on the level of the scale of the problem. And it's going to take us, ideally 4 years, probably more likely to the Olympics. I kind of mentally, I'm thinking, if we can get this dealt with by the time of the Olympics, we will have done a major thing. And I think we have to be involved on a citywide basis, but we also have to look at our own community.
Great.
Anyway.
Thank you, Ren.
I could go on for hours.
Thank you. Great. So that concludes the question and answer section of tonight. We're coming up on the hour mark. And so what I would like to do for this final section is give everybody 30 seconds for a quick closing remark, and then that's it. So each candidate will get 30 seconds for a closing remark. It could either be something that you wanted to add that you didn't get a chance to, or address any of the other questions that were asked that were not asked, that you were not asked. So Jim, are you good to be with a 30-second timer? Are you set up for that?
I am now.
Okay, perfect. So again, this is 30 seconds. You will be cut off after 30 seconds, so keep it to 30 seconds. Any final closing remarks, and then we'll end tonight's forum. And we'll start with Nick Baker. Nick, you still there?
He's muted.
Let's see here.
I do apologize. I apologize. Hi, sorry about that. Yeah, no, I got to say, really just focusing on how to get things done seems to be the thing that I would focus on more than anything else. We need to figure out exactly how to get things specifically done, how to get specific answers done, how to get that guy fixed, how to get the bathrooms clean, and figuring out how to do that exactly seems to have changed over the years. So I'd love to be a part of that. And thank you so much.
Fantastic, Nick. Thanks so much. Ren, you got 30 seconds, Ren.
Okay, thanks. I just want to thank Toluca Lake for letting me be involved in all these years. I'd like to stay. If I'm reelected or not reelected, I'll probably be around. So anyway, I'd like to encourage all the rest of you, whether you're elected or not, please stay involved and get involved in committee activities. Thanks.
Great. Thanks so much, Ren. Catherine Hatton.
Yes, thank you. I will absolutely echo what Ren just said. Get involved. The board is 14 people and a youth member. It's not enough people. Honestly, we need people to be on committees. So whether or not you're elected, whether or not you're even running, if you're just someone on the call trying to get to know the candidates, get involved in a committee, figure out how you can help, because we need everybody to come together. It literally takes a village in the village of Toluca Lake.
Thank you, Catherine. Mike D.
Yes. Well, again, like other people with their sentiments, elected or not, I'm going to still continue to try to be a force in the community. My wife and I have pretty much the last 15 years been involved in every charity event, or just about everyone in Toluca Lake in some capacity. Put a lot of time and resources solely for the betterment of the community and those around us. Love spending time with my neighbors doing that and doing something good and something fun and that comes out of it. So hopefully I get elected. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Kevin Dees.
Hey, thanks, Jason. I think it's definitely about getting things done. And I think it's also about listening to the needs and wants of the community and putting that, front and center. That's what's most important. It's about making the community better. It's about listening to people. It's about making a safe community, and it's about a thriving community. And if I'm chosen, I'm looking forward to serving and working with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kevin. Susanna.
There we go. Yeah, as Kevin said, almost I would say in marketing terms, listen to the voice of the customer, our community, our neighbors, and bring those issues forward and get them solved. I love the involvement of so many people in sort of fairly small community, and I want to keep contributing the best way I can and for the betterment of the community. And of course, as part of the beautification group, I want to keep working on beautifying and helping to better that issue as a part of it. I'm sorry, now I'm blabbering.
Well, that's great.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you so much. Sean, any closing remarks, Sean?
Thank you. Much like the sentiment of everybody, and being the new kid in the block, or relatively speaking to all of you, I look forward to working with everyone and doing everything I can to help make this community better and learning as I go. So thank you.
Great. Awesome, Sean. Arthur, any closing remarks, Arthur?
Yeah, so one, I'd like to ask for your vote. It has been a pleasure serving for the past 5 years. I look forward to the next couple. One of the things that kind of strikes me is that, I don't have all the answers, and this is a community that we all live in and we're all a part of. And so there's a willingness and an openness to listening to the stakeholders as different issues kind of bubble up in the community, and knowing that we can all work together to kind of tackle all these things and make this a better place for future generations.
Great. Thanks, Arthur. Tim, any closing remarks, Tim?
You bet. Thanks, Jason. I'm new to giving back in this way and being a part of a board. What I can say is that in my professional life, I'm collaborative. I'm a great leader, and I get things done, and I solve issues in a collaborative win-win way. And I'm excited to bring those same skills and those same passions to the board. So I'm looking for your vote, and I'm thankful to be considered. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Fred, any closing remarks, Fred?
So yes, pretty much everything you guys have said, I agree with. And the homeless, the problems we have with overdevelopment, and to quote Howard Beale's playbook from the movie Network, if I'm elected, I'm going to have everyone open their windows, stick their head out and scream, we're mad as hell. We're not going to take this anymore. And that's the approach I'm going to do if you elect me, because together we can solve these problems that are just wrong, and we cannot let them get worse. So if you haven't seen Network, go watch it. It's one of the great movies, and I love that Howard Beale and that thing. So I'm going to end with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred. Tess Taylor, any closing remarks?
Thank you, Jason. This is a good group of people. Echo a few things. Robin, I totally agree. No bench warmers. Nick, very important process and procedure. Get things done, Tim. I totally agree. Overall, quality of life. I want to ensure good government and transparency. I want to make sure that we adhere to due process. I insist that development be code compliant and that we avoid adverse impacts that we've seen with the Cahuenga Bloomfield that I worked with Fred to appeal for over a year. And I would look forward to an opportunity to serve. I've been very active at the neighborhood council meetings without being a board member, and perhaps this will be my opportunity to become a board member now. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Tess. Laura, any closing remarks?
Yes, I just want to say, obviously, I'm very passionate and I will bring my vast energy into getting things done. And I would love to participate in committees and at events, whether I'm elected or not. And I just want to thank you for having this Zoom meeting.
Great, thanks, Laura. And Colby, any closing remarks, Colby?
Well, I'm very encouraged to hear that everyone else's heart is in the same place my heart is, which is in Toluca Lake. Specifically, you know, I think it's important, again, to address, someone brought up, Tess Taylor brought up Cahuenga Bloomfield. You know, I was actually one of the only 2 board members to vote against that. So it was, you know, I am, you know, against those kind of projects. Overall, I feel like I've learned so much in the past 2 years by serving on this board. A lot of practical matters, which are very important to get things done. And I encourage you to vote for me for this time. And I hope I earn your vote. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Colby. And definitely last but not least, Robin Allen. Any closing remarks, Robin?
I was the first to start and I'm the last to end. Thank you very much. Well, whether or not I am elected, I will stay engaged in the community. I have been for many, many years. I love this community. I want to know everyone in this community, and the couple of faces that I've never seen before. I'm so happy to finally meet you, and I'm going to look for you in the village. And just as a final plug, safety has always been a big concern of mine, which is why I got involved with the Neighborhood Watch. I am now the chair of the Neighborhood Watch. So if any of you are not on a watch list, please contact me. I will make sure that you get on one so that you at least hear about the crime stats every month within our neighborhood. And also, if you don't have a watch captain, we'll find a watch captain for your street. So please stay involved, stay engaged. You guys all have good hearts, and let's just try to make this the greatest community ever. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Robin. That concludes tonight's forum. I just have a few very quick announcements. One is that there are a few other candidates that are running this year that couldn't make tonight's forum. So check out the website at votetolucalake.org to find out who those candidates are, and you can read a little bit about them. Also, again, as was said, I think once, if not even twice tonight, if you are running and you do not get the opportunity to be a board member, please stay involved. Please stay involved. Join a committee. There's so many things to do around the community, and we need you and love you. And this would be great. So please stay involved. 2 important dates. These are the most important dates: May 4th and May 11th. May 4th is the last date to request a ballot. Again, May 4th, which is coming up, is the last date to request a ballot. If you wake up on Cinco de Mayo and you have not requested a ballot, you will not be able to vote this year. May 4th, make sure that you request your ballot before then. And then May 11th, that is the last day to vote. And there'll be a drop-off box at the North Hollywood Library, I think it is. And then there's, but you can mail in your ballot. So you'll get an envelope to mail it in. But there'll also be a drop-off box as well. So May 11th is the last day. And last, I want to give a huge thank you to Jim Fitzpatrick for being our timekeeper tonight and making sure that we are all on track. And I want to thank all of the candidates for staying on time tonight. So with that, I want to wish all of the candidates good luck. We have a great basket of really qualified candidates, and I wish all of you good luck. And feel free to reach out to me at any later date if you have any questions, or you can reach out to the Outreach and Elections Committee for any other information.
May I ask a question related to the election, Jason?
A question related to the election, yes.
Yes. What is the cutoff time on Tuesday the 4th and Tuesday the 11th to both submit the vote by mail application and to mail or drop off the ballot?
do Jim or Catherine, who are both on the outreach and elections, do either of you know that time? I think it's 5 o'clock, but
I believe it is 5 o'clock on May 4th that you have to request a ballot. And I would advise, just because it takes a little while, don't wait till 4:55 to get through that. And then as far as the Dropbox, it will be available for several days, actually. So it is at the North Hollywood Library from Friday, May 7th at 9 a.m. until Tuesday, May 11th at 8 p.m. So it goes a little later. It doesn't end at 5, but
Thank you.
it can also be dropped in the mail, and they are accepting anything that is postmarked by May 11th up to 10 days after the election date, but it has to be postmarked by election day, May 11th.
Great. Thank you, Catherine. And this Zoom meeting will be posted on our Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council YouTube page. So if anybody wants to, forgot something that a candidate said or wanted to go back on and review what some of the candidates' thoughts are, you'll have that opportunity to do so. So again, thank you everybody for joining us tonight, and hope everybody stays safe and healthy, and we'll see you around town. So
Thanks, Jason.
Take care.